Hi everybody, my name is Janaea and welcome here to my channel. In this sacred space together, what I like to do is focus on discussing topics specifically that are related to mental health and also spiritually based concepts. And oftentimes there's an overlap in my discussions with them. So I like to talk about these things in a way that I hope that you will find relatable and down to earth and will help you to be able to connect even more deeply with that own inner guidance system that you have, that inner wisdom that all of us have in this world. Today's topic is all about excuses. So I'm going to be talking about excuses and specifically just some beginning steps that we can do to begin addressing excuses in our lives and not allowing excuses to hold us back from that inner connection that all of us are longing for in our lives, and to help that when we release those excuses, that helps us to be able to live more fully, right? So let's talk a little bit more deeper about that. With excuses, one of the first things I want to say with them is, and this may come as a surprise to you, is that excuses innately are completely harmless, right? It's a thought. It's a series of words put together, right? And you're saying that I'm going to give myself allowance for not doing the things that I want to do based off of this belief, this thought that I have. And it's an excuse. You know, it's a way that we pardon ourselves from things. It's a way that we allow ourselves to overlook, what we really want to be doing in life. And, but innately, they're harmless. They only gain energy. They only start to actually take hold or take root in our lives when we say, I'm going to give you that power. I'm going to hand over my own sovereignty, my own personal power and everything to this belief system, to this thought that's in my head that either I maybe came up with myself or perhaps I inherited it from somebody else. Maybe I inherited it from my family members. Maybe, I could have inherited it from friends, from society, whatever external outside of us we want to say is the cause of this excuse that is being used to not live, or not live as fully as we desire to. And so we are the ones. So the basic concept with that is that excuses in and of themselves do not do anything to us. There is not an excuse outside my door right now, pounding it down, saying, okay, Janae, you can't make that video because, you don't have the perfect lighting today, your sound may be a little bit off or something, or no, you need to put some pictures up on the wall before you can do that, right? Those are all excuses. But they only actually gain any traction when I open that door and say, oh, yeah, you can come into my life and I'm going to give you the power to tell me when I can and cannot jump online and share information with my lovely community. So, again, they do not do anything to us. It's we who give them that power. That's one thing to start with excuses. It's also very easy with excuses to just get into a space of living from autopilot. You may have heard that term before, where it's an automatic. It becomes automatic. It doesn't start that way with us, but whether we develop the excuse or whether somebody else imposed the excuse onto us and we attached to it, we decided, yes, we're going to give this merit and we're going to bring it into ourselves and hang on to it. After a while, the longer that it gets to hang out with us, it starts to become an automatic thing in our lives, and it produces an automatic response to how we live and what we do and do not do. So we want to stop that automatic response in its tracks. And then how do we do that? What are some simple steps to begin today to just stop? And really, the first one is just to stop, right? So you're listening to this video right now, and you can even internalize, like in your head. I've used this with clients before with visualizing in your own mind that there's a stop sign right there. And here comes an excuse saying, oh no, well, you can't go to the gym because, you don't look like everybody else at the gym. Okay, I'm going to put up that stop sign right now. Hold up a second before that thought gets to come any more deeply into myself. I just need to stop it. But then before I can sometimes even stop it, I need to become aware of the fact that it exists. Correct? So the true first step before even stopping that is awareness. And we start to become more and more aware of the excuses that we have been entertaining and have welcomed into our lives through some of the most simplest ways. And they're the things that we often resist the most, right? And one of them is just becoming silent. Just being in silence with ourselves for a moment, being in silence with our own thoughts. And when you've never done that before, that's a really daunting task. It can be really scary because you don't know what's going to be coming up there, right? Or what kind of thoughts might be running around there, even though you hear them all day. Some of them some of them you may not be paying attention to quite as much if you're busy all day long. So they get overshadowed with all that busyness. But just becoming silent. And I know that it may not be possible to be silent all day. I'm not talking about doing, a 24-hour meditation or anything like that. I'm talking about taking 30 seconds. I'm talking about, then upping it to maybe a minute. That minute becomes a minute and a half. And it can be spread out over the course of the day. It just is stopping and taking a moment to tune in and being like, okay, wait a minute. What is actually going on for me right now? So you can stop in the morning before you get out of bed and allow yourself to think, okay, what are the first thoughts coming up for me? Am I having thoughts that are really excuses telling me that I, can't do some of the things that maybe I had planned to do for that day, or I need to put those things off? I need to put them off to Monday because I'm going to start everything on Monday, because we all start everything on Monday. Diet start on Monday, exercise routine start on Monday, everything starts on Monday. So, you're right, it's the true thing. We've all done that. But so you can start as simply as in the morning, just paying attention to the first thoughts that are coming to your mind when you're waking up. And then over the course of your day, picking a time. Maybe you do a check-in at 9 a.m. and you do another check-in at noon and perhaps another check-in at 3. Just for a few moments, just saying like, okay, wait a minute, let me just review the past few hours. Was there anything that's coming up that was potentially an excuse that I was telling myself in order to make it okay for me to not be the best me that I can be? Is anything that I've been telling myself over the course of this day that I have used to allow me to stop myself from really reaching my full potential? And if there is, then the next step from that is to write it down. We want to get that thought out of the head and outside of you. Put it somewhere so that then you can start to have a distance with it. So whether you keep a journal, whether you keep a whole bunch of little Post-it notes and everything everywhere, it makes no difference. Whether you use an iPad or your phone, whatever you have handy that works for you, take a moment and get it out of your head and somewhere else so that you can begin to separate from that excuse. Because one of the things with that is that over time, when we have these excuses, we can start to believe that they're actually us. Especially if we've had them for decades. We can believe that this is really something that I identify as being me. And they're not you. Right? Because you are an amazing, beautiful, spiritual, beautiful being, much greater than a thought, that has become an excuse. So they're not you, and you want to begin to just simply separate from them, begin to have some level of detachment, and to do that, putting it outside yourself is a help. You can even do symbolic things where you take pieces of paper, and you write them down, and then you can jot them down and then fold them up, put them in a container that has a special meaning to you, and just put it away. Just symbolically, it's coming out of your head, out of your being, and somewhere else. And then you can dispose of them later, in a safe way. Please don't do anything that would be unsafe. But you can, whether you throw them away, whether you shred them, whatever you happen to do with them later on. But again, it's that physical, symbolic process of taking it from the internal to the external and then releasing it. And I am checking my notes to see if I have forgotten anything. But these are some very simple beginning steps. I don't want to make this video too long. Just want to acknowledge that all of us have been through excuses. We have developed our own, we have inherited them. And we can begin today to just start doing little things to help us to begin to detach from them, release them, let them go, and step more into our true power instead of handing over our power to something that didn't belong to us in the first place. And that's where, when we do that, that's what enables us then to really hear that inner guidance that we have, that little inner voice, because that inner voice is very silent. It's a whisper. And it's letting you know that, hey, wait a minute. That's just an excuse that you're telling yourself. It's not really who you are. You're much greater than that. You're amazing, right? You have unlimited potential in everything in your life. You can do more than you even know that you can do, but you can't hear that voice when it's being overshadowed by these other excuses that have been taken on to be real, right? Because I'm going to tell you right now, those excuses are a whole heck of a lot louder than that little voice, everything in there. So what we want to do is just begin uncovering, begin saying, I'm knocking that excuse to the curb. Here's another one, kicking that one to the curb, in order to be able to hear that true wisdom that's letting you know that, hey, wait a minute, no, you know what, today go for a walk. Today get on the computer and hit play and make a video. Today paint. Today you want to write the first paragraph of your novel. Whatever it happens to be, but you're not going to hear that until you start to acknowledge and realize that, hey, there are some excuses that are just simply in the way, and allowing those to take a back seat in your life, if not, kick it out the bus altogether, which is, I know is not always easy, especially when they've been hanging around for a while, but if we can start with just kicking them to the back seat, then that's a beginning. Starting with the steps that you can do without feeling like, completely overwhelmed that all of it has to be done this very second when it doesn't need to be. You're going to have things come up your entire life. That's the point. We're always supposed to be evolving and growing. So that means that there will be things for us to learn and evolve and grow from our entire lives. But what can you do, right? And what are the particular excuses you can become aware of today in your life that you can begin to detach from, release, and then move forward to where you want to be? All right, thank you so much for being here with me today. I look forward to seeing you again next time. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves. All right. And if you want to, share with us below some of the excuses that you're releasing for yourself. Let us know what you become aware of, whether it's in listening to this video or maybe in other things that have come up in your life, something that you're like, oh, this is just an excuse that I've been telling myself and I'm not interested in hanging on to it anymore. And you can share that with us in the comments below. All right. Until next time, bye-bye.